Jacob, I also really want to talk about the fact that this is going to be one of the best opportunities to see some of these international teams, some of the smaller regions really start to get a little bit more involved and kind of remind the rest of the world, particularly everybody on social media, that they're here to show out. And obviously already kicked things off pretty hot here in match number 1. No surprises whatsoever. Pete and Pollo just doing their thing.
Yeah, and even in the feed, Braids just getting an early game elimination. Only one, because in reload, your teammates will have about 12 seconds. So if you go down, you're really relying on 12 seconds from your teammate to stay alive. They can shorten that time span with either Nox eliminations or full-on duo wipes, but that just puts the pressure on them to survive. And we're just kind of seeing a lot of the early games. You know, Pete, Pollo, uncontested. Muzz and Sphinx, on the other hand, the entire opposite. Typically, throughout the qualifications process, you see 2 teams land here. Today, Taco, we have 4.
Yeah, there's just way too many duos actually here at Elite Armory and Retro Phoenix. They're trying to get rid of at least one of them. Cringe going to be the first to be removed from the battlefield here, but we'll just have to wait and see how things actually play out, where Volko's managed to scurry off too, because Phoenix and Retro have certainly stamped their mark, but obviously they're not the only ones that are trying to secure some of those free elimination points. 3 a pop can definitely make some leadway.
Yeah, and you see they're almost looking like they wanted to get a little bit more aggressive, but he kind of picked up that shotgun. It had no extra ammo in it, kind of slowing down the progression there. But, you know, game 1, typically in a lot of the tournaments, especially our international events, it does kind of slow down just a little bit, but I'm not seeing it here in Reload. It's just constant action. Vico get elimination onto Rainy. Shxrk now trying to play for a lurk onto Muzz and Sphinx, and this is the spot where I told you 4 teams are actually landing at.
And that's the thing there. Muzz Sphinx being fully aware of just how many other duos are actually surrounding them. They're definitely trying to be a little bit smart. Obviously, Shxrk going to reveal himself now. Khaled following suit, but Sphinx and Muzz, they are already locked down and secure inside of the building. It's going to be tough for Shxrk or Khaled to really find any sort of entry point, so they'll opt to create a little bit of distance here. Might actually cause for Muzz and Sphinx to focus a little bit more of their attention that way, because as duos start to get a move on, Muzz, Sphinx, they'll waste no time. Now looking to see if they can beam Khaled out of the air. Don't even give him that opportunity to properly rotate off the launch pad, and obviously it's just going to get more complicated as the zones continue to pull further and further inward. But a little bit more settled over at Hostile Hold for Vico Halabuka.
I mean, when you literally have a quarter of the lobby landing on Elite Armory, it does kind of ease up the pressure elsewhere, and it kind of being used by not only Vico and Malabuka, but Rainy as well. They went down early on. They got separated, so he is the one buying all the time in the world. Muzz and Sphinx on the other side, trying to rotate away west of the Elite Strongholds. They end up in a little bit of an altercation, one that does seem to be stalled out, though.
Part of the problem is PHZin from a distance actually going to snipe away Shxrk for Muzz and Sphinx's clutches. And a little bit of a disappointment maybe even for Muzz and Sphinx. They'll opt to drop for the loot. That does leave Khaled in a bit of an awkward position, obviously waiting for his duo to get back into the action. But now PHZin, he's going to look to close that gap. Edson right behind him, and Muzz, Sphinx fully aware of the fact they might just have to pick up another fight.
One after the next, Edson, PHN. Again, this is one of the teams at the Elite Armory, and you see him using that grapple, just trying to bait and switch. But he just separated himself just a little bit too much from PHN. This could have been a great opportunity for Muzz and Sphinx to kind of peek out, but I know Muzz and Sphinx, especially when it comes to reload, they like to play a calm, cool, collected gameplay. They don't go elimination heavy and toward the end of the game when they almost have to.
Also just smart forcing that disengage, because when you looked at what PHN was rocking with, he didn't actually have a way back up that quick phase without burning through every single one of his materials. So opt for the launchpad escape here. Rainy and Nolly though waiting to see whether or not they can capitalize on Cringe's early woes here. Volko doing what he can to provide some cover fire, see if he can get his duo out of dodge. And for right now, it seems to be a success because Nalu definitely on the ropes here. Cringe going to start to make a revisit, but it turns back to their favor. Rainy and Nalu, just like that, come out on top, but at the same time, Volko's still the healthiest of the bunch.
Yeah, we saw him drop to 5 HP before he finally got saved. And you got to give Nalu and Rainy a good credit right there to help each other out when they need it most, because that would have been the worst possible time for Nalu to get taken down, because you see how many more and more players are moving over in that direction. You can kind of see where the mini-map is at. The zone is pulling everybody over towards the western part of the map, towards Peerless Pier. And even though if it doesn't land over at that POI, Taco, we got to watch out for the mountainous hedges that play a huge role in these end games.
All right, now one thing's for sure, Jay. Cringe is just trying to look out to see whether or not he can even touch foot back onto the ground. Vico and Malabuka drawing towards that reboot. It's like a calling beacon to every single duo in the area. And now Vico, Malabuka choosing to just continue wrapping around, following where these reboots are taking place. And if they can keep securing elimination points like that, it might force the hand of Shxrk and T3eny to get a little bit more proactive on that aggressive front.
Yeah, even though for today's games, it is going to be top 7 qualified to the finals. It's almost like, I think Barney said it, like the first impressions matter so much. When everybody else goes back to rewatch this, the other group that is probably watching it live now, they're going to try to pinpoint and expose some of those weaknesses. So you got to make sure you got to play as hard as you can the entire time, 4 straight days. We jump on board Peterbot and Pollo. And honestly, for both watching Shxrk and T3eny and Peterbot and Pollo here, 0 eliminations so far in this game. It's not something I expected to see, but they are a team that does like to play a little bit more calculated at times.
Main power certainly playing a little bit of a part here, lending towards their favor though, because who wants to really get all that up close and personal with those duos this early on the competition? Rather just wait and see whether or not they decide to throw their names into the hat. But Chino, Pablo, crowd getting a little active for these two on your screen. Vitality's representatives, and obviously a strong European powerhouse team. So I'm expecting some big things, especially with where they're currently located. Hari and Cammy just on the other end, separate hill face now. But so far, everybody's in the clear. Teams are starting to hedge up in positions to potentially lock out others, though, caught inside of a storm for just one step too many. Now Pump, Epic Whale, really trying to find themselves not getting sandwiched between the two.
Yeah, and you can kind of see on the right side of your screen, these guys this weekend are playing more than just for themselves. They're playing for a club championship. If anybody can take down Team Falcons, it is going to be AGAL, which we will see tomorrow. Vitality in this game as well. So there's still plenty of those club championship points up for grabs. So a lot of these Fortnite players, they're used to playing a little selfish, playing for themselves, but I think right now they got the big picture understood here. No Sif going to go down. Braids and Booga. Center zone on the edge of a hill. They got to be positioned very, very nicely here. They do have some good heals, and their loadout pretty looking stacked.
To wait and see whether or not it actually bodes pretty well for them. Z-Dog, though, definitely in a bit of trouble as Epic Whale and Pump are going to cut him off on that next rotate. You also have to remember, with so many stragglers, kind of teams that just suffered some of those early issues at the beginning of the match, waiting for their duo to reboot, get themselves into a position where they can even participate in the lobby. You're coming into the mix behind on loot, behind on just about everything. Material can also get a little bit hard pressed even if you've been getting constantly farmed out of that reboot cycle. But knowing that there's only one duo that's actually been fully eliminated at this stage so far, Jacob, and we're already rapidly making our approach towards that 7th zone. You have to remember, that's the point where if you lose your duo or if you both get wiped, that's it. That's the end of the run, obviously. But knowing that you're going to lose that reboot opportunity, I think, could put a little bit more pressure on.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be tough, because if the qualifiers have taught us anything, you don't start to get placement points until essentially the end of the game. Zone 10, Zone 11, Zone 12. That's where you get a lot of the meat and potatoes in terms of those points. So it's going to be very, very important. I like the strategy out of Shxrk and T3eny. I like the strategy out of No Sif and Izzy. And you can kind of see a couple of these teams are kind of trying to fly under the radar. 10 games is a long time, especially when we go from Elite Stronghold to the Slurp Rush map. You don't want to be on anybody's radar, at least too soon in the tournament.
Epic Whale Pump certainly doing a good job to be a little bit more evasive from the rest of the lobby, just continuing to put up some strong positional fronts. Epic Pump, though, fully aware of the fact they're going to need to get a move on. Solid hustle so far from some of NAOS finest, but Gotta watch your steps sometimes. Leva, Romero, Shadow, Virgo, so many other teams also making their approach. Everybody trying to really get based up more towards that high ground position because where the zone is pulling towards, but that's gonna force some other teams to sort of start getting entangled with each other, and these engagements can get really awkward, especially with what PH Zen is holding on to.
Yeah, this one's gonna be interesting to watch for PH Zen with that mythic Shockwave launcher. We know what Shockwaves, we know what the overdrive Shockwaves can do, and that mythic Shockwave launcher is just that much more dangerous. Izzy Nosif just trying to farm up. You see everybody in Elite Experiments. There's a lot of places to hide, but as Taka was saying, you can see Peterbot Poyo, Phoenix Retro, Izzy Nosif, Shxrk and T3eny even on the other side. They're putting a lot of importance on maintaining a bit of elevation because we could easily go up any one of these mountains on the side.
It's also just so hectic when you're trying to play through low ground in this type of environment, especially when you know that PH Zen, Edson likely going to be a pretty big disruptance factor as long as they're holding on to the mythic Shockwave. But for Pete Poyo, right now, they're really just trying to stave off everyone else, and we got about 45 seconds and dwindling until the reboots are getting cut off, and that's also going to be an interesting landscape because for a lot of these teams, that next rotate could just be your last.
Yeah, you can get that max pull, then you scratching your head, how am I going to make it all over these teams? And that's why I think elevation is definitely key. And you see a huge mix of rotation coming out from some teams, mainly being the Shockwaves. But the other thing you got to notice is that Flowberry Fizz, because it allows you to go higher, further, that low gravity. And you mix that with the Shockwave, it's almost very little worry if you do end up with that max pull. So if you don't have it, definitely got to be careful. But as Taka was alluding to, 5 seconds, reboots will turn off. And that means it's essentially your last chance to make any mistakes here. And you can kind of see the different edges, the mountain over towards the east, the regular POI over towards the south, and this zone is going to tell us a lot.
Cami Hari, while they'd initially been a little bit more isolated, Sphinx and Muzz immediately going to crash the party here, but Alex is the one who's really got to look out. Shxrk, T3eny, they were trailing them since the start. Shxrk eats a little bit more damage in the exchange, but he's still got plenty of shield left to work with, and T3eny right next to him, and the damage has already been done. Reckless, best of luck out there, buddy, because you're going to need it with so many other teams already starting to swarm onto his position. Shxrk, T3eny, they're going to be so difficult to actually avoid their line of sight, and they're already fixated on the next move. They want to immediately send it towards high ground, and they're going to have the advantage of getting ahead of Mofu and Tama in the process.
Yeah, even though I'm a little surprised about their lack of aggression in the early game, they're a team that knows how to flip that switch, just like this one here. Shadow and Virgo progressively getting better each and every tournament throughout this year. They not only qualified for this event, they made sure to kind of take down some top teams all along that path, and now they're elevated just like everyone else. They see that the zone has pushed everyone towards the north. Pablo Ingu and Chino even getting a knock on the Boko, just showing how chaotic this endgame is beginning to turn into.
It's just been an uphill battle, quite literally, for Cringe and Volca from the start. Pablo and Chino just continuing to add on to their problems, but that's going to be the setup that they needed. They've got a little bit of an opening, but they are making sure the lobby's focus is headed elsewhere. Reckless, though, just still so separated from everybody else. Sure, he might have been ahead of the pack, but when you're a solo, you only have so many options. And now, as the congestion starts to fold on top of him, Shxrk, T3eny headed straight for height. They're looking to really be the primary controllers for where everyone else is going to send it next. And it's going to be tough because if you're trying to funnel through some of those lower layers, not only are you trying to work through some of those pre-existing builds, but now Shxrk, T3eny beaming you of all teams. Virgo already feeling some of that pain, loses pretty much all of his shield. He's going to have to take a moment now to stop and heal.
Yeah, and they positioned perfectly for the zone to pull in their favor. Every team, or at least relatively so, has to rotate in this direction, and they're just lighting things up. And because they're elevated so high up, all it's going to take is one of those shockwaves to get to the front side of zone and maintain their position, and out it goes. They're going to go ahead and try to hold on to it while continuously looking for more and more opportunities at damage and getting these players out of the lobby.
I like the fact that they actually cut that frontside rotation a little bit short just so they could do, as you said, elevate. That is the priority for these two. Nosif, Izzy currently stuck, but it's temporary because they find a big knock onto Palm. Some damage has been done here for Vico and Malabuka as they're going to now look to try and see whether or not they can break in towards where Cringe is at, but no, instead realizing positioning is going to be the clear intentions. And Shxrk and T3eny T3eny doing such an excellent job still of maintaining height. They're not really allowing anybody else the opportunity to even try and challenge them.
All it takes is one person to look up and a whole nother team to shockwave. Anything is still possible, but Peterbot's going to go down. Poyo faced with a little bit of trouble as he falls as well. 4 teams out of this lobby already.
And No Sip definitely benefiting so heavily right now. 2 eliminations. Izzy right next to him, relatively healthy, but at the same time, they've got to be so careful. Straight to his front side. They're going to opt to drop here. They know that they've got company, but they've done a good job of cutting off where the other frontside duos were initially headed. Shxrk T3eny still applying so much pressure, and Muzz will take out Malabuka, but Spinks loses his duo in turn. He'll have to keep trying to turf his way forward, but with only 1 build remaining, he's going to be forced into a fight. It's an all-out scramble currently, and Spinks, he'll even opt to maybe try and play the med kit for some additional points because placement isn't even really a factor yet, Jacob.
Yeah, I was thinking he's 1 of 4 solos, seeing Malabuka down 5 solos, Chino down 6 different solos. Being stuck in this end game is just complete madness, and down below you got Booga and Braids trying to control as much of the ground as possible. But you see 2 empty item slots digging into their heels, relatively low to no materials. They're going to need a miracle if they're going to make a run for first in this game.
All right, now it's all about trying to see if they can even break through some of these pre-existing builds currently. Cammy doing what he can to create a little bit of separation from where some of that low ground congestion is at, but Izzy knows that disaster has struck. All of the Frenchies is now Izzy scrambling every which way, but he won't be able to avoid the bulk of this lobby pressure. Shadow, Virgo in that lower hand section, they've been getting pretty active here, and it's Braids that they'll look to claim. Virgo even taking that liquid shockwave launcher for himself. Could pose a big threat towards Shxrk and T3eny if they're still going down the high ground, but for right now, Virgo Shadow wrap around and the surprise banger onto Z-Dog. That's going to give them their opener to take over frontside low.
He is just taking names and crossing them off the list one by one by one. And this is what I was talking about. The progression of Virgo and Shadow over this past year has been insane. Now they find themselves in the top 6, but he goes for a nice elimination on the roof, but it costs him everything. Moto's able to get the knock, but he's going for a res. He's trying to make the heroic play possible, but there's pressure coming in from all angles. He actually does complete the revive, and Shockwave's out. He is going absolutely crazy.
But the sacrifice, it comes at such a cost there, and Hari, he doesn't even have time to sit and think. He's just trying to deal with scaling up the mountain face himself. Goofy gonna claim Cammy, also having his own set of walls out. No builds, no life remaining. Spinks trying to see whether or not he'll even be able to make it up. Just getting cut off every step he tries to take, but one after the other, Shxrk and T3eny up above it all, just having the time of their lives.
It's looking scary. 2v1 situation. Shxrk and T3eny. Hari by himself. Angles are covered from all over. He almost has nowhere to go. The first shot's gonna come in. The second one's gonna be easy. Shxrk and T3eny win game 1.
Is this EU? I mean, I feel like I'm just watching what I've been seeing all year long, Jacob. Shxrk and T3eny putting on the masterclass inside of Reload.
Some of these teams down further below. Epic Whale pumps at 20th place right now. It's really now is the time, because you don't want to leave it too much later. You don't want to let it drag out. You need to do it now.
Yep, here we go though. Chino and Pablo Wingu had what a strong start in game 6, but 7 not going quite their way. Muzz opting to leave the dirty dots. In fact, other teams didn't even go there. This is what happens. Teams will take that initial hot drop and go straight for the fight.
The most important thing is staying alive, right? If you can just have these fights, try and claim this drop spot, even if one of your teammates or your teammate goes down, you can still stay alive. You can still regroup later on. Shxrk taking a lot of damage here from Romero up on top. Looks as though he has an angle on him, which he does fine. Nice crack of the shield here from Shxrk. Muzz finding one onto Malabuka as well. So many of our top teams right now battling it out here at Stilt Town. Shxrk though down. Liwa takes him outright there. There's an opportunity for them to try and build some momentum as well. Romero looking for some angles as well. It's all up to T3eny and Romero now as solos.
Yeah, Moreau's going to be really careful. Muzz is on the hunt, and his teammate was down for quite some time, but Muzz now has a little bit of that counter pressure coming in from Retro. So it's just going back and forth here. Everyone's exchanging. Muzz is going to be the one that definitely comes out ahead. He secures 3 quick Iliums, starts dancing. He's like, hey, Retro, send me to my teammate. I'm going home, brother.
He's fine. He's fine with that. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. Getting those points, getting an early start, hit the emo. It's what we like to see here, isn't it? We've got the RPG in hand as well for Retro. Looking to rise from the the ashes, to quote Kelly right here. This is an important game for them, sitting just outside, I think, of that sort of top 7, 11th place overall right now. So yes, they probably could do it in the 2 games, maybe they could do it in 1 game, but you have to make it count now, as we get to see how those fights were going down here off spawn. Muzz, one of the finest fighters in the lobby, doing just that against Malabuka. Z-Dog though, one of our Australian teams, whipping the shot, and Moda can find the first or his second elimination of the game so far. This is a big moment for these guys as well.
Yeah, it surely is. You know, they finally get a little chance to start earning some points here, give them that confidence to get back in the game. But Pump versus Goofy, finally Pump putting some points on the board there. You know, we really have seen a very underwhelming performance from Pump and Epic Whale. This is a tough spot to be in, and it just makes you think, is the pressure sitting on Pump's shoulders? You saw the interview and the content with Epic Whale there. We know surely he's got nothing to prove, but is it Pump maybe that needs to just step up a little bit?
It can be hard, can't it? If you're playing with someone that has so much experience, is so calm, and speaks about your team as, yeah, we're a calm team, we're going to be fine, we're going to perform. And then you might be thinking, actually, I'm a little bit nervous. I am a little bit feeling the pressure a little bit. So maybe that could be the case for them right now. Sneaky beaky, though, for Chino and Pablo, looking to find an opportunity, as we get to see that in the bottom left of your screens. We get to see, of course, how Pump took down Goofy. Pretty standard stuff for him. And Chino, bottom left, looking to find that moment. Phoenix, completely unawares, you have to imagine. And now he is. Pablo looking for a big shot, not quite able to crack his shield, gets inside of the box, hits a big shot, but Phoenix there does go down. Of course, it's only Phoenix in this area, and Pablo and Chino, very, very solid load out there, exotics in hand. Vico Malabuka just next door, and Pablo Chino are a team that we expect big things from them. They do deliver on the big stage, but I feel like we can expect more. They're that good.
I think the competition is just that close, to be honest. You know, they're really in that mix. They're in the competition race here at the moment, but Vico's going to take some punishing damage. Malabuka just on the run here. These are your point leaders at the moment. That's the worst case scenario for both of your individual players to be in different important fights right now. This is how you get sent back to the lobby here and earn no points. Meanwhile, Virgo popping off though. They take down Malabuka and Vico simultaneously, and they're now out.
Top team down and out. The door is open for teams like Poyo Peterbot, for teams like Shxrk, T3eny to start rising up to the occasion right now. The team that have been looking so consistent, quite reminiscent actually of their Summit win. The way they've been playing so far today, they're now out.
That's how quickly the story can change. Now any team inside the top 7 realistically has a chance to snipe the first place seat and really give us a show here for the first group.
Door is wide open. On over to the rest of the map. So many teams still inside of that storm, of course, as well. One team that isn't, Pablo and Chino. We've seen these guys trying to sneak around, getting a little bit of that damage. As I mentioned, they've got that exotic as well. Really good for close range shots. The Outlaw there, so it's going to be interesting to see how Pablo can do that. Both of these guys, really good solo clutches, and I think we saw that in the last game. Shxrk doing a really good job at that, just to keep them afloat at the top end of the leaderboard, even though T3eny did go down early. When you have players like Shxrk, when you have players like T3eny, Pablo, Chino, these individual talents on your team, it can really help carry you through the tournament, because even if one of you goes down, the hope is not gone.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference, you know, especially when you're really not safe at all just yet. Peterbot's really the story of, you see a team that can be at the bottom in just a couple of games. Everything turns around. Meanwhile, speaking of the witch, Mofu's going to be taken out pretty quickly there by Peterbot and Boyo now. Just cleaning up house here at the Slurpy Swamp. Jumping to the other side, we have OCE's Reckless and Alex here. A little bit of pressure on Braids and Booga. Fights breaking out now for Shadow and Virgo. Chino and Pablo Wingu end up fully eliminating that team, it looks like.
Yeah, this is a nice position here as well for Pablo and Chino. They can sort of scrap loot a lot of this area. See PhD and Edson inside of the area too, so they've got to be careful that they don't clash heads before they make their way into the zone right now. And big expectations here as well, of course. Brazilian team. We've seen good performances, Brazilian teams. We've seen good performances from PhD, particularly when it comes to land. So I was really intrigued to see what they could do. They are just outside that top 7, a decent ways down. But what they can do is they can have these big games. They can have these big moments, these big individual fights that can completely turn the game around, and we've seen that throughout lots of LAN events. Brazilian teams aggressive, looking for fights at different areas, but also smart at the same time.
Yeah, they've had good vibes all day, you know.
Yeah.
During the down moments, he sits back, reclines that chair, puts his feet up, and really is just soaking in the moment. It's a wonderful thing to watch. Back on over, though, to our very serious Shxrk and T3eny. 252 points right now, playing the outer zone. They're looking to kind of patch up their mistakes from the previous round, but they do have to be careful. You have Alex there, like I said. This is the scariest part of the game to be in. You're far in the zone, and if your teammate goes down, you guys would be pretty much split up, and things can start going awry at that point.
That's the thing about this map as well, though. If you do go down, you can go back into the storm. You can heal your way up. You can scrap loot a lot of that as well. As Tomat goes down inside of that storm. So, going to be an interesting opportunity right now from Ofu to try and find a clutch. Of course, Retro and Phoenix, they're quite happy to find that elimination. Couple of points right there as we get to see the overall rankings, how things are shaping up. Remember, Vico, Malabuka are top dogs right now, down and out, completely eliminated from this game. So all those teams down below, like you mentioned, Monster, they're definitely within reach.
Listen, my question for you is, what are these zones?
Yeah.
These are tough zones right now, as they are going to continue to steal away that real estate. So we're going to have another congested tournament here at the end of the Steamy Stacks with those silos that can be in play.
Oh, they always make things interesting. It's almost a throwback to Chapter 1 Fortnite. Everyone's flying up in the sky. Nobody quite knows what's happening. I'm sure we have that in store for us for the remainder of this match. It really does come down to a lot of those different sort of mechanics that you don't necessarily see too often in Fortnite. How can you manage those situations where you don't usually find yourself in? Where do you land? Which teams do you fight? It's all going to come into play very shortly for Booga and Braids. Just sat outside of that top 7 right now. Expectations, as always, so high on Booga's shoulder.
Notice a different playstyle from them as well. While other teams are looking to get extremely active, they're just hanging out in Zone 5, actually slowing things down, recognizing how close they are to the qualification spot, right? Kind of staying in the conversation. They recognize that, hey, for us, we don't got to do anything fancy. Let's get to end game.
Well, especially since Vico Malabuka are out. You know, that opens up a door for them. That opens up an opportunity. They're quite happy with their loot right now. They're quite happy with their positioning. So there's no reason to take that risk, and they are a good enough team to find those refreshes mid-game. Here we go, though. Pablo and Chino, another knock for them, gets the full elimination as well, all the way down towards Logjam, of course, as well. They find themselves there still, so looking to make their way towards that north side. Zone pulls back towards the southwest, so we will have one of those stacks inside of the zone, potentially an opportunity for teams to rotate. Really like this positioning, though, from Shxrk and T3eny. Probably not as active as we've seen them in previous games at this particular time in the game. They're quite understanding, I suppose, of the fact that Vico Malabuka are down, the fact that they're now 3rd on the leaderboard. They need another one of those big games, and could that be now?
I think reality's setting in, like, wait a second, that big lead we had, it's kind of gone at this point, and no one is safe. Muzz and Sphinx also just having a really great story here starting to develop for them. 3 eliminations this game, all off the back of Muzz. Now they have the momentum coming in here to these final moving zones. Soon the storm's going to be looking to shut off, so you can see all the teams now starting to migrate on in. It's time to get to the safety.
Look at that. Yeah, look at that east side of the zone, though, of course, as well. You get to see it in the minimap. We go to a POV that is inside of the zone. Pablo, Wingu, and Chino get another elim. But what's great for them is, of course, that zone does pull towards that south, so they're going to be able to get towards that dead side of zone with these eliminations, with this damage that they've got here as well. It is a 2-tick, and it will turn into a 5-tick eventually as well, so they do have to be careful. But that's what I'm saying. Look at that east side. It's going to be really interesting to see where this next zone ends up pulling, because if it does pull towards that west side, it's going to be really difficult for so many of those teams. And even if it pulls towards the east, those 1 or 2 teams that are on the west, it's going to be so difficult for them. It's not going to be easy at all.
Saw the little handoff there of the Shockwaves, only 2 for Izzy and Noken, so we'll just have to keep eyes on how they end up performing here in the end. It's going to be more and more closer. Shxrk and T3eny, as we continue to update with our teams that are in the race right now, are still looking good, but this is where the real story starts to begin. The zone's going to close, and all chaos is going to break loose.
I think probability-wise, it is more likely to pull east, of course. There's more land to play with. The zones favour not pulling over water. There needs to be a certain percentage of it in, so I'd imagine it will pull back to the east, and I think a lot of these players will think the same too. And yeah, it's a sort of northeast zone, so straight on one of those stacks though, it's going to be absolute chaos here at the end of this game, and it almost makes it quite difficult for a lot of these teams towards the south of this zone, particularly the teams towards the southeast. Pump and Epic Well of one of them. Booga's ahead of everyone else, so he shouldn't have too much of an issue, but you've got to push through all of these teams in order to make your way in, and that's the situation that some of these guys find themselves in.
Yeah, this fight's going to be pretty nasty when that's going to happen right now. Remember, those stacks are completely indestructible. We're going to start running out of real estate already and then start taking things to the air where teams are going to have to block you off. So this is going to get very, very congested here shortly. Peterbot Pollo starting to set up the lurk, though. You have Shxrk and T3eny to their right-hand side, and it feels like we're in an end game. Yeah, just put quotations around that. There's no points yet. This is not where you want to go down.
It's definitely not. Remember, Peterbot Pollo, they've been setting up for height a lot earlier on than so many other teams in this lobby, so interested to see now how they play now that first place is up for grabs. Will they still take that risk? Will they still go for it as Lewa and Romero find a knock right here onto Retro? They needed a big comeback, so that's going to taint their chances potentially here as Retro does get fully eliminated. There, Phoenix down as well, so Pablo and Chino deal the final blow to that team, and they've been on a roll here.
Yeah, 5 eliminations now, things adding up. Rocket launcher in hand, mind you, and then you saw that exotic shotgun as well. So much firepower in their hands. Just take a look here from Pablo's perspective. They find a very weak Phoenix, and that's the full elimination. They were trying to hype them up, but that pressure's starting to kick in now. Meanwhile, can Shxrk and T3eny overtake first place with this kind of opportunity they've been gifted? They're going to be one of the first to go and cut through. And look at that. No interest in actually going for high ground. They don't want to be a part of that mess here. They see that the new storm is actually pushing far west. They are getting put to the test.
Lovely little dead side rotate there from them as well. They understand that they don't need to take that risk. They don't need to go up into the sky. And the team that are right now, Shxrk and Style, these guys are very happy to be up here, trying to maintain a lot of that position as well. Goofy, Z-Dog also trying to do the same. Shxrk looking towards that front side of that moving zone as well, so they're looking to try and take height early on here. Peterbot Pollo understand that maybe the time is not now. Having pressure down from height as well. Pablo and Chino settling for these mid-ground layers. Looking pretty healthy, looking like they're in a good situation to take this sort of front side mid-ground layer. They're a team that haven't really come alive yet. We haven't seen the best of them, but it's brewing. There's something there.
Yeah, this is looking really good, though, now with the little layer change. Meanwhile, Shxrk and T3eny, the only team playing the ultimate low ground at this point. As the others come down, it's out of desperation, and that's going to be a great delivery here from Edson to Shxrk. Very nice pickup. That's some free mats. Meanwhile, Peterbot and Pollo fighting for the layer here, taking full control. That's a refresh they'd love to have, but they do not need, and they will not sacrifice their positioning.
Yeah, they don't need to. Zone pulls back towards Steamy Stacks. They need to maintain that elevation. They can't go down for that refresh. Booga been in prime position this entire endgame, really using all of that experience. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back into that building right now as well, tries to refarm, use a lot of that natural cover. You see Romero trying to do that right now, and it's the Middle East team all the way up on height, still maintaining it.
Khaled and Shari, just no pressure. This has been the story of Group Stage A. It's like whoever takes it has gotten a free ride. Meanwhile, Lua and Romero, though, what a story for them. This sleeper duo here stepping up and continue to stay consistent. But again, there's so much more to be desired in this game. There's still 14 duos remaining, and we're nearing the final zones.
Shari. Khaled looking just down on the rest of the lobby. There's always that danger, though. There's another team coming up. It's Peterbot, it's Pollo. Who else would it be? There goes one. There goes another. Peterbot on height where they belong. They want to close out 3 in a row.
And then the upgrades as well. Now he's got that legendary one and you're done pump shotgun. What an inventory. 6 shockwaves as well. Big on material counts here. Are we going to see a 3-peat? Could this be a sample for the finals? Do remember that match point format. You'd have to break threshold, secure wins, and we're seeing early glimpses of that greatness.
And why would we ever doubt them? They're all the way up. The zone pole's all the way back down. All these teams down below need to try and tumble on all the way through, but the team that's not doing that right now, as per usual, they ain't tumbling down. They're flying high. It's Peterbot, it's Pollo, as Izzy, Nosip, battling it out on low ground. Cammy and Hari finding it difficult as well. Only 16 builds to his name, has to try and struggle here. Liwa, Romero looking quite solid inside of their builds as well. Nice tops on the way through as well, but do get sprayed on down. Muzz getting the same treatment as well. This is difficult for them, but it's the team on height that are running the show. Brait finding a knock onto Liwa, now having to solo clutch, but goes down.
Teams are falling faster than we can even track at this point. Only 10 duos remaining. Make that 9. Shxrk and T3eny are heating up. The low ground is theirs, and they are the kings of what's happening here. Pump in a desperation attempt there to grab a couple mats there, but Shxrk lets him loose. T3eny, meanwhile, goes up as he starts to secure for positioning here. They're looking to make this a very interesting endgame. Now they look to the high ground. They see, wait a second, someone's the king of the top. Peterbot comes down. It's all up to Poyo.
First place is there. Who wants it? Shxrk and T3eny looking the more likely right now. Poyo retains that high ground as well, retains that positioning, but Shxrk says, no, 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 we want that positioning. Let's try and chop him out. Poyo using that overdrive grenade to avoid fall damage, but that's his last, so he's going to have to be so careful as to how he comes down right now. Shxrk and T3eny looking up, trying to find that position. They have high right now if they want it. Do they want the win? Of course they want the win. They want first.
How is Pump still alive? Well played for him at top 5, but Poyo here by himself has to concede to giving up the high ground. He was forced on down, and now still holding on. But every interview here this weekend, Peterbot has said, I'm looking out for Shxrk and T3eny for good reason. Meanwhile, they are looking to turn this entire story around and secure this dub here.
Shxrk and T3eny against Chino. They take height. They're looking to take the game as well. They needed a comeback. They needed a resurgence. They needed to remind everyone who they are, and they do. Shxrk and T3eny.
Well played for them right there, just like that, and then they are stone cold. That face expression does not change. They just keep that aura about them.
Never in doubt. Never in doubt. They've found their form again here on Shxrk Rush. Playing that game like we saw at the beginning of the day, taking height really confidently. When Peterbot and Poyo took it, you had to imagine that they were going to go ahead and win that game with how history's been going these last couple of games here, Monster. But the way that they played that there, Shxrk and T3eny, they didn't rush. They didn't try and take height too early. And I think it played in their favor, I think.
For Shxrk and Khaled, who had that win in the bag, the last thing you expect is to then get contested by Peterbot and Poyo. Keep in mind, for Khaled and Shxrk, that is the game that's going to get them out of that dangerous, full crushing blow that would have kicked them out of the tournament completely. So for them, they get a lifeline. For Peterbot and Poyo, Shxrk and T3eny, they take advantage of Vico and Malabuka's downfall.
That was a big moment in this game. That sort of set the precedent for the rest of the top teams, and they delivered as well. Shxrk and T3eny, what a performance. They're a team that we know can take height. They're a team that they know how to play it, so let's see how they played it from their perspective.
160 wood. Let me hear. He dead, he's just solo. Get the pin check. My box.
Not even a GG when it's over.
They didn't say anything. Did they know they won?
I don't think so.
They did not come up victory royale. Maybe they thought it was another team.
I think they're ready for the next game. I don't know what we're waiting for at this point.
Yeah.
What we're seeing from them is a level of focus that I don't think we see very often in competitors.
Well, they just do this. This is what they do. It's like, you know, if you're a bus driver, you pull up at the stop, you don't celebrate. Because it's what you do. It's your job. They're happy with it.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, with that, we're just going to have to ease down here and power down the brakes.
You do not want to be eliminated from this entire event. At the very least, you want to be playing on Friday.
Those bottom 3 teams we talked about, they are creeping their way up, and now other teams are starting to present themselves to danger. Well, game number 7 is here. We're jumping right back into things. Shxrk and T3eny already back at it now with a quick elimination here. Again, once it flies over, take that quick drop, try to secure points. That's the mission.
It's got to be the mission, yeah. These guys just continue to show how good they really are, show that they can win games. They take risks. Shxrk right now with a combat shotgun takes down Phoenix. That's a nice shot early on right now, and This is the strategy, isn't it? You know, just fighting a lot, trying to find a lot of those earlier limbs. When you got Shxrk on the team, you just let him run off, do the elimination, do all that job.
Just get in there, get your hands dirty, Shxrk. I'll sit back over here and I'll keep the house safe.
I'd love to play with Shxrk.
Wouldn't we all? Well, take a look at this. Shxrk, just RPG to himself. That wasn't exactly a strategy, but you saw the writing on the wall. He tries to put the code down, a little misplay.
Yeah, can I switch him to T3eny now? Can I play with T3eny instead? Retro and Phoenix, though. No.
Oh, no. Retro and Phoenix. We were here bantering, having fun, and now they get sent out. Pablo on the other side in a crazy fight. Muz somehow ends up being on the losing end of that battle when he had full advantage.
Well, yeah, Pablo and Chino, they're getting a bit of momentum right now. Of course, they were in that final 2v2. Already it was a 2v1 against Shxrk and T3eny there at the end of that last game. So they're one of those sort of teams that you don't see loads of throughout tournaments. I feel like you kind of forget sometimes that Chino and Pablo are in the game, and then it's like, yeah, they remind themselves as to why they're here. They're two incredible players. Just don't always keep that consistency from them, especially when it comes down to FNCS majors. Here seems like very similar though, but what a performance needed here from Epic and Pump. They're lower down on the leaderboard. They're not quite out of the bottom 3 yet, but it is close.
Yeah, you know what? They've actually had a better back half of the tournament so far. They were much, much farther down as far as points were concerned, but now they're looking like they might actually fight their way into at least being safe for the survival round coming on Friday. Take a look at what Pump's doing here. Another elimination here. He's just farming Alex, actually hunting him down. Meanwhile, Peterbot finds Izzy and Nosif. I thought he was going to emo for a second. I was like, do you really have time for that? I don't think so. But it's all good. Peterbot's heating up. He's at 3 elims.
That's what he does. Patrols this area. Very similar to when Peterbot and Boy were running the region, but look at this now. Vico takes down Epic Whale. That's the first knock. Malibuka looking for Pump as well. This could be an absolute disaster here for Pump and Epic Whale. Remember, these guys really need a solid last couple of games here in order to get themselves out of that bottom 3. Vico, Malibuka looking to reclaim that top spot as well. That's why they're so aggressive.
Not gonna lie, for a second that was very spooky for Pump. He had braids on his heels as well, thinking about whether or not he wanted to key him, but ultimately he has a little bit of time to get back. We'll catch back up with Vico in his second first. We can see what's happening here. Shxrk gets fully eliminated. It's Goofy, it's Z-Dog. They're actually finding their footing here. You know, they're not too far off. T3eny just forced to hide here at the Dirty Docks. Again, this is their drop, right? This is the spot they have claimed.
Yeah. That's what they're going to have known. They're going to have practiced. But of course, I suppose in Reload it matters a lot less than in typical Battle Royale. Z-Dog looking to try and find another few shots on the Shxrk. Goofy trying to get involved as well. Remember, Shxrk only has a basic loadout at this stage of the game. It's going to be something though, and he still don't want to fight him as Goofy gets straight inside the box, knocks him in the process as well. Shxrk will reboot. T3eny off in the distance. Goofy and Z-Dog are more than happy with these eliminations. That's their third of the game, and they're a team that are sort of in the middle of the pack. They're not a team that really are struggling in terms of how a lot of our teams on the lower half are doing, but of course, they've got to be pushing for that top 7.
Yeah, it's a different type of pressure, you know, when you are, you know, coming into match 8 and then you're at the absolute tail end of the standings. You know, it's the worst spot to be in.
Yeah.
And that's where Reckless and Alex are now kind of contending and fighting for. Meanwhile, Pump and Epic Whale are slowly marching their way up and out of that desperate situation. I'm seeing folks like Virgo and Shadow, though, like kind of on that line now. What's going on with them?
This is dangerous, isn't it? This is very dangerous. You can see two of our lower down teams fighting right now. It's Pump against Virgo. Virgo boxing him up. There's the shot as well. Virgo finding his first of the game, and of course that team's as well. It's all up to Epic Whale right now. Remember, Epic Whale's the one that went down earlier, so now they've had to get another situation. Look at Epic Whale's HP. No! That's it. They're out of match 8 right now. They've only got 2 more to break out of that top bottom 3.
And listen, if you're Virgo and Shadow, you are absolutely happy about that because that's a team that you want to just stay down there as you are teetering on that line, right? So you're actually taking out the right team in this instance to at least be able to extend your tournament life.
It's almost like doubles the value of those eliminations, right? You know, it's super valuable for those guys. Chino looking to try and line up a mammoth pistol shot as well. We know how good his aim is. actually going to take the shot though, but we can see these guys often operating in the storm right here by Logjam. They're quite happy in this position. They made it far in that last game as well. I suppose the zone was favoring them, pulling up towards T3eny stacks. Not a massive rotation for them, as Malibuka looking for a sneaky play here as well. We've seen them getting very active early on in this game. Remember taking down Epic Whale early on. Z-Dog and Goofy also getting very active in this game, taking down Shxrk multiple times, which is some feat. Malibuka hits the shot, finding him inside of the box as well. Can he find the full knock onto Goofy or onto Z-Dog? Goofy's further back inside of their own box, back inside of their own home, cocooned in there, and Malibuka says, no, that's my wall, that's my shot, that's my knock. Vico coming from another angle as well. Z-Dog trying to find any which way to get out of here, but he's stuck. He's trying to scurry away, but Malibuka and Vico, they smell this elimination. They find this opportunity. They need as many as they can right now because they're the ones chasing first. Goofy and Z-Dog, they're a team that are also in that sort of position to maybe take that top 7 spot. Looks as though Z-Dog's just about done enough here to keep his teammate back into the game. Yeah, Malibuka's going to get the knock onto Z-Dog, but of course Goofy is still in it. That was good play from Z-Dog.
Tremendous job by Z-Dog, and then I'm just thinking to myself, Mally, what are you really an IGL? Like, what are we watching right now? As he was leading the charge there, but Z-Dog, chef's kiss, keeps himself alive for 10 seconds there while getting chased by 2 of the best players in the world.
And honestly, that's a skill gap within Reload itself, right? You know, of course staying alive as long as possible in Battle Royale is important, but you don't get the reward of having your teammate back. In Reload, if you can keep yourself alive, which is definitely a skill gap, you can definitely go far in this mode. And I think that's why we're seeing them do really well. I think a lot of people would look at an OCE team and think, yeah, maybe not too much expectation on their shoulders, looking at a team like Alex and Reckless, who unfortunately are at the bottom of the leaderboard. You don't have high expectations of them typically, but they are exceeding those expectations.
They're doing so well. Well, PHN's got to exceed them as well for the Brazilian region if he wants to stay in this one, because Peterbot is on his tail. Nice 5th elimination now for Peterbot and Boyo. I think they've recognized top 7 for them is in the bag. They put the fries in the bag there, Minor. They got it.
This is the Peterbot employee you don't want to be fighting. You never want to fight them, really, but when they've already got things secure, when they're playing with that level of confidence that we've seen from them, when they're patrolling the lobby, they're conditioning everyone else around them, they are honestly unstoppable.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how that Vatari is going to play out for them. You know, Elite Stronghold clearly is a weakness or a weak point in their tournament strategy, but man, they've got this map on lock.
That's the thing. I mean, it's neither situation, I suppose, is going to be easy for them. You have so many other great teams in the lobby, but the thing that they do really well, and the team like Shxrk continue to do really well, is they can convert those end games into wins, which is going to be really important come Saturday's finals, because you need to win in order to actually take home the title here. So that match point's really going to shake things up as well. And the teams that are capable, the teams that will take those risks, that will go for hype plays, it's going to be absolutely cinema. But of course they've got to get there first. And based on today's performance, we've got an absolute spectacle coming up as well.
Well, if we were in a simulation, if we were in a world where it was the match point and we were looking to close things out, Shxrk and T3eny are in contention for that, as are Peterbot and Boyo. In theory, this could be one of those game-defining, tournament-defining moments. It's really showing you and highlighting what it takes and what it will take there on Saturday. But getting back to Shxrk and T3eny, he's almost repaying the favor at this point, because the other teams have the best of him early on, but now it's Shxrk who's fighting back.
They always get themselves back into the game. Remember, we saw Shxrk going down earlier on in the game. We saw them in difficult situations in the past. They just always seem to be able to find those extra limbs, and that's just almost the makeup of this team. So good at sort of comebacks, being able to get themselves into situations to win the game every single game. It's all well and good playing for those end games, playing for those placements, but they can always find themselves in a position to win. Peterbot and Boyo likewise, finding the limb onto Shadow right there. Virgo, of course, trying to escape as quickly as possible, trying to stay alive, of course, as well. Peterbot trying to hunt him out. Virgo's right there. Huge shot from the Mammoth Pistol from Peterbot. Trying to just find an angle. Actually, inadvertently hits the launch pad. Didn't mean to do that. Might have given Virgo a little bit of extra time there to get Shadow back into the game. I think Peterbot's understanding that and thinking, yeah, this limb's not for me. Let's go back into zone.
Yeah, you know, as the zone's starting to close as well, the last thing you want to do right now is fight Virgo. That was a sign of respect there. Yeah. They did take down Shadow. They knew that for certain. They're like, do I really want to boss fight Virgo? Maybe not. He does seem to be pretty nasty with it when it comes down to it. So not a fight you want to take in the storm there, but Hey, look, for Shadow Virgo, they have a lot working against them. They're going to have to figure it out. Meanwhile, Lua and Romero seem to be heating up.
Game for them. Really, really big game. Remember, this is a team that do find themselves inside of that top 7. Not by a huge amount, but by an amount that they could get the job done potentially in this next game. This game setting themselves up for that is going to be absolutely huge. Put the Brazil region truly on the map and, of course, into those finals. Currently the only smaller region team that find themselves inside of that top 7. That's one of those teams that we expect big things from in these sort of level lobbies as well. And as that clock ticks down, the reboots become impossible, and that changes things.
It's music to my ears right there. This is where things start getting really exciting now. And also for the players, reality sets in. There's no more messing around.
No more messing around. You go down now, you are out of the game. No reboots, no second chances. And as the time goes on in today's competition, those chances of playing games keep going down as well. So each and every one of these moments is of utmost importance and increasing importance, of course, as well. Muzz and Sphinx quite happy to just dance inside of their box. Are we going to get an elim here, or are we going to get an emote? We're going to get an emote.
We're going to get an emote. We're going to get an emote. We're going to get a dance. Muzz and Sphinx, they must have heard the comms earlier, like, hey, you want to interview? Can't give you that, but we'll give you this little dance for the fellas. Meanwhile, Peterbot, Boyo, just looking so good right now, playing for height, back into that like exuberating confidence here as they are looking to secure a potential other win. Would that bring them up to 4 at this point? I'm like losing track.
I think 3 maybe?
I
Yeah,
don't know,
3.
dude. It's getting crazy.
That's just a classic Peterbot point. You just lose count of all their numbers because they're just so astronomical. Another astronomical shot from Peterbot as well. Just the ability to find those shots. And what I'm noticing here as well, he does have that spray weapon, that combat SMG. He hasn't held that in a lot of those previous games, which gives Height another problem to think about. Whoever does end up on it, if it's not them, they're going to have that double spray down potential, which they haven't been having previously.
Notice what they're doing. Pablo and Chino eyeing up high ground. They haven't had a chance to really stamp themselves in this tournament with a win just yet. They're looking at it and they're thirsty for a chance to do it. This might just be it. This is a really far pull here. This is a tough spot. Lua falls. That's a terrible spot to be in. This could be the moment that cracks things open and gives away their lead.
Absolute disaster for Lua. It's all about Romero right now. Peterbot playing spoiler to the rest of the lobby. Romero has to keep his cool. Just about getting into these placement points very shortly, of course, as well. So absolutely vital that they stay inside of this game because they need it to stay inside of that top 7 as well. Peterbot doing damage to everyone else. They've already qualified through. They don't care about how everyone else does. They just want this win. They want to prove that they're the best team here, and they're doing that with all of these incredible shots and holding on to Height.
If you're Romero, you cannot afford to fall now. Peterbot, Boyo, Hawks in the sky here looking for their next prey. Meanwhile, Pablo and Guccino, an excellent rotate here using that grapple, just splitting up from one another, really playing for themselves now. Pablo ends up in a scrappy little fight here, changes layers. Meanwhile, Chino just trying to stay up. Here's Romero's perspective. He's got danger all around him.
He does have good mats. Good mats there. He's got that med kit. He can play that as well. Really good mats. So he can play this game out. He can hold on to it, and you do need that in these LAN environments. These solo clutches become so important. Malibuca, Vico, a time to have a sip of water. They're inside of that top 3 right now. They're trying to resurge up the top of the standings, of course, as well. No Sif down there in the feed. Peterbot Poyer still maintaining this high ground, using that overdrive effect as well. They're using that pad as well. We've seen this happen so many times here, Monster. They're skipping all of these late game zones. And this is how they're winning. They're maintaining all of those materials. They don't need to go down for those refreshes. They're able to hold on to Height really easily.
What's really nice about it is they figure that out after those 2 very rough games. They're like, wait a second, we're doing something wrong. And that's the little adjustment in the strategy. Well, here's someone that can't adjust much further. It's Romero. He's completely out of extra heals to shield with. Unless he goes down into the river, there's no other way for him to recover it other than getting an elimination here. But even that's very dangerous. You have players fighting all around him here. He just wants to keep a low profile and stay front side of zone. Meanwhile, Izzy also in a clutch situation. Remember, he came into this, he was in 9th place.
Huge moment for Izzy. If any time to do it, is the time. It is now. Shxrk, though, huge beam right there onto Vico. He's not letting anyone play up in the air right there. We saw Malabuka up there too. Malabuka now down on below, but looking very weak indeed. Peterbot probably going to have to settle for that low ground. Shxrk and T3eny are the team that are wanting to hold on to that high ground position. Malabuka, Vico having to expend a lot of those heals, but look at their material count when they go to their POV. So much materials there for them.
There it is, that elim that we were talking about. Romero actually gets one, and now he can even think about going for it, but no. Instead, he gets targeted there off to the side. He is just clutching up big points here. This is how you fight to maintain your place on that standing there. Romero doing a really good job. MCal behind the wall here. Romero doesn't quite land a shot, but hey, he's still in a tournament.
He's got no heals though. He has to try and solo clutch this as much as he can, squeeze out as many of those placing points as he can, as all other players around the block go down. Romero does fall right there to the hands of Vico, who take that front side of zone. Now him and Malabuka from the skies to the ground. They are looking to take this low ground and take the game for themselves.
It's really good right here. 4 eliminations. We're on the ultimate end zones now. Just 2 zones left here. And from the high ground, it's Shxrk and T3eny, the dominant duo of the evening so far. It's been going back and forth. The conversation, the focus has shifted from team to team. And then you have Muzz and Sphinx rising up from the depths themselves as well. We might just get that interview that we were looking for, but first, he's got to fight his way through Vico. It's not looking too good for Muzz down low, as Shxrk and T3eny are putting that extra pressure.
They saw Peterbot and Boya go back-to-back earlier. They said, we want some of that action. Shxrk doing exactly what he does best, spraying on down, holding the rest of the lobby down. Of course, that bridge is going to play spoiler forever and down below, of course, as well, so it's going to be really difficult to get anywhere near that high ground. Malabuka, no pills, back as zone. There's Vico finding another elimination. That's their 7th of the game. The huge amount of materials now as well to claim that front side of zone. It's a 2v2.
Shxrk and T3eny have lost 2 games where they've had the high ground in the end game. Now they get a chance to redeem themselves, and it's up against Vico and Malabuka. It's like I'm dreaming to watch this fight happen again from Shxrk's perspective. Who's going to secure that first elimination?
It's all about Vico, Malabuka down low. They've already recovered this game. Shxrk and T3eny have been flying sky high. Can they close on down right now, though? They're collapsing on through. Shxrk hitting huge shots. There's Vico down. Malabuka's the last piece of the puzzle. Can he find the shot to close it out? Of course he can. They go back to back.
My gosh, the ability to make the decision to shoot the down body, secure the siphon. Now you can play the storm a little bit longer, and just like that, it went from, wait a second, this is looking scary, to, give me a second here, T3eny, I got this.
That's what makes this team so good. That's what we've got to look out for.
Look at the fans. Look at the
They're in
fans.
disbelief, as am I. I don't know how they keep doing this. And Shxrk in particular, remember he was going down a lot in those games. They recovered their game there as well. The ability in those end games to make those quick, rocket them out of that bomb.
Then you have Rainy and Nalu just, you know, the Japanese, they're just peeking on down like, oh no, it could be us too. So it's going to be pretty scary here. Sketchy times ahead of us as we jump in. Shxrk takes down Epic Whale immediately, then follows up with another one onto Chino, then follows up with shots onto Cammy where Braids finishes things up. Talk about a hot starter, just really secure things here. Well played for him. He's not going to be too upset about that.
Yeah, they can still win the game. It's what they do. It's what they've been doing. Shxrk going down early on, more than capable of finding more eliminations and more things to play for in this game.
No,
Retro.
when I think about it, Retro, this is such a hot start for them, right? They didn't earn any points last time, and now they're clearing out their drop. Shxrk down, Peterbot down, Cammy down. He said, what, first, second, other teams, top 7, get out of here. They're making room for themselves.
So they're collecting trading cards of Fortnite Goats. All the players are able to take out right here. Retro all on his own, more than happy in that position. You can see how much that's going to mean to them, of course, on the standings. They do need to have these sort of maintaining good games in the rest of this competition. Leo Romero, big performance, big show from Romero in that last game. Just going to breed a lot of confidence for these guys, particularly Leo. Just a reminder as to why you're playing with your teammate, why these guys are at the top of the standings. Big performances so far from them. Just need to get into a a bit of a rhythm inside of these end games as a duo. On the other side of things, of course, Izzy, Nosif, Booga, Braids, the teams that are just outside of that position inside of the top 7. Izzy all alone as well, having to fend off Peterbot, which is not an easy task whatsoever. Peterbot spraying inside of that wall, able to get the knock right there as well, but just in time, Nosif is able to get back into the game. Peterbot and Poyo, they are on the hunt. I think they see is that Nosif in the air next to them, so they'll keep on trying to find their way through this game, keep on pushing through, and keep on being aggressive.
He's just lining up Shadow there as well, but keep in mind, take a look at this for a quick second. If you missed it because you blinked, that's how all those eliminations came tumbling down. Meanwhile, though, Peterbot is still in the fight here with Poyo. They're just continuing to stay active. Peterbot gets hurt, though. Opts to go for that free shield here. See how quickly bounces back. Meanwhile, Vico gets an elimination onto Braids. Peterbot falls to Virgo. It's just all unfolding here, and now the action really picking up the pace.
It's really interesting to sort of hear from Vico Malabuka. We don't tend to hear necessarily from the team that just lost the game. From their perspective, of course, getting second in that last one. But it does seem like they're going to need to rely on a lot of those team chemistry vibes they've been having so much throughout the time they've been playing together, as Poyo finds another one right there onto Shadow. That's going to be interesting to see how those guys can bounce back. They're sort of in that middle of the standings. They're not quite low enough to drop out of the competition, not quite high enough to break into that top 7 probably from this game, but they can put themselves in that position here after here in game 9. Malabuka and Vico, one land champion fighting another. Booga trying to find an angle. Malabuka finds it. Not enough damage really to do too much harm to Booga, who launches his way out of the zone. Malabuka looks for a shot, lining it up, misses the first, second one too. Not able to find it, and there we go, the third one. Third time lucky for Malabuka. Fourth time to try and close it out. Doesn't find it. Looks as though they're going to be able to use this launch pad. Are they going to give chase right here to Booga, because Braids is in a bit of a difficult situation as well. They do. Booga out, Braids out. They're chasing that top 7, and their hopes rely on that last game.
That might be it. Like, unless Lua and Romero fall now, they are going to be so far ahead. There's only 2 games. You just dropped this one. Game 10, I mean, the math might not even be mathing.
That's the worst possible outcome, right? One of you goes down to one team, another one goes down to another. We've seen so many teams where they are able to stay alive, they're able to hold on out to get their teammate rebooted. When you're fighting 2 different teams, it becomes even more important. Reckless, though, another team that's needing a big game all the way down at the bottom of the standings. Shxrk giving chase right now as well. Can he find that final blow onto Reckless? Maintaining that momentum so well, of course. He's able to hit that shot. Where is Alex? And how is Alex doing? Because Alex now needs to stay alive to keep that team in the game and keep them alive right now, because this is a very important game. The bottom sort of 19th to sort of 17th, 16th, they're all quite close, whereas Alex and Reckless do have a little bit of ground to make up. You can see it on the leaderboard right now. They're just that little bit further behind, so Alex has it all to do right now.
Well, while we were focusing on that, Nosif and Izzy are also down. This is a extremely rough spot, but if you're Cringin Voco, I mean, your eyes are lighting up here. What was probably an impossible scenario to find yourself in, now you just have a chance to jump in. It's going to take a hero's effort, though. You will kind of have to get up towards the upper placement points there, but Virgo, Shadow, this is a fight to not get their keys crushed at this point in time. He stays alive just long enough to get Shadow back in the game. It's really unfortunate, too. They started off so hot, and it just slipped on down.
Difficult, because they need to sort of shift their focus now just to staying in the lobby, making sure that they can play on Friday at the very least. Peterbot and Poyo don't have to worry about that whatsoever. They're continuing to plow on through this lobby. 4 eliminations now for them. They are living life on easy mode when it comes to actually qualifying through. They've got the job done more than happily, you have to imagine here as well, realistically. When we come into this, it's not, I suppose, done and dusted realistically, but mathematically they could still lose it. But it's Peterbot, Poyo, Goofy and Z-Dog. They're a team that sort of in the middle. Can they find themselves an opportunity to break into the top 7? This game's going to be the decider of that. They got Peterbot and Poyo on the wall. This fight could mean more to them than just this individual game. It could mean their entire qualification to either the survival stage or, of course, qualifying straight through to finals.
That's right. They're the next best up behind Cringin Voco. and by a pretty significant few eliminations. So it is going to be important for them to continue to pop off here. Meanwhile, Muzz, Sphinx, again, sitting very much comfortably in 4th place right now. Have a fight of their life ahead of them. Is Shxrk and T3eny. Shxrk and T3eny have obviously and clearly been fired up, but Muzz and Sphinx are playing very, very well themselves. So I think Shxrk and T3eny should be able to meet their match here. So we have NA against EU. Nice job for Shxrk there to open up on Sphinx.
What Shxrk's so good at is just sort of herding his opponents into the same area, into the position that he wants to find them in. Getting that free piece, getting that positioning, conditioning the fights as well. And you could see that Muzz and Sphinx falling right into his trap because he was almost ushering them into that position. You can see what it means though when you're on the opposite side of things. Muzz and Sphinx have to now separate. They've got to do things solo. Shxrk and T3eny looking to try and close on in. Shxrk looking for the shot, not connecting in that instance. Two of the world's best fighters going head to head right now. Shxrk definitely you have to fancy in this situation. So many angles being covered, so many pieces being controlled, and Muzz is just trying to escape. He's trying to scurry away, but there's only so much you can do against Shxrk. He's got him in the box. He's got so many of those walls, but Muzz can escape right now, and this is the danger for Muzz. He doesn't have this piece control. He's trying to scurry away.
There was a point in time where Muzz would have been the fastest and most mechanical player in the world, but this new age in Shxrk and T3eny are just a different breed right now. Hey Muzz, we love you, we respect you. You're still in 4th place, but man, Shxrk and T3eny are looking different.
What's the difference? You know, we're not talking about first and last. We're not talking about first and 50. We're talking about first and 4th, right? Levels difference in terms of fighting ability. Shxrk showing exactly how far he has come and what he means here on this global stage. Had a little bit of a wobble in the last major. We didn't see a great performance from them in day one. We didn't see the star-studded performance maybe some people were expecting out of them in the Major 1 Summit in the traditional sort of FNCS track, but I think shaking off a lot of those nerves, particularly for Shxrk, making his first LAN earlier on in the year, now LAN number 2, expectations are so high. So for them, it's all about maintaining that calm, maintaining that positioning that they find themselves in.
Everything on the line right now for Epic Whale and Pump. No points earned. One of the first teams to get kind of picked off. You saw there to the hands of Shxrk. Things haven't looked much better since. I mean, the loadout extremely scrappy, even for a reload tournament. This is just shambles all around the board. They're just really, really struggling here. But hey, one good end game and they will jump up and bounce over. They can make the leap here and put another team into a dangerous situation. Malibu and Vico, while we were kind of looking all around, they're already at 7 elims, so just creating terror on the field here.
Shxrk and T3eny again continuing their plowing through the lobby. It's what they do best. It's what they're happy to do. It's where they feel most comfortable. There's Malibuka looking to try and take out his EU counterpart.
A little classic.
That. Yeah, that's like OG Fortnite. Scraps right there, isn't it?
Little classic. You love to see it. Back on over to Shxrk and T3eny as they are our muse for the time being here. Zone 6, where most teams are not going to be looking to do anything crazy. Shxrk and T3eny quite literally have nothing to lose at this point. They will be the thorn in all the other team's sides at this point. Phoenix and Retro managed to somehow kind of stand things off while all that was happening, though. Pablo and Chino end up falling here. Is that going to be enough to actually put them in any dangerous situation? I doubt it, though. 330 points. Pretty strong lead they have right now. It need to happen twice, actually. If Pablo and Chino had an early fall like that twice, it could be really, really bad. So they're the first to fall inside of our top 7 duos. Here's a look at the map. At least we got some land in play. Right?
Yeah.
A couple of those games are pretty rough to kind of kick things off. I've noticed that now things have kind of gotten back to somewhat of a more standard type of zone play.
Nico Malibuka, 7 eliminations, but looking low on the HP realistically for both of them. Looking for that siphon, particularly on Malibuka to try and get their HP back up. It's all about building that confidence ready for them. Look at that though, Goofy and Z-Dog causing them trouble. Now Vico down to 9 HP, that ticking, that timer in all of the players' ears. Reboots now ended.
There it is. No more rebooting back into the game. This reload format keeps things super exciting though for us as teams are still fighting now. And if you get taken down, it's a worst case scenario for you. And then you have someone like Shxrk on your heels here. T3eny's gonna go in and finish up Phoenix. Pressure coming in for the rest of the lobby. T3eny's very hurt. They have almost asked for the lobby to look this way. This is what happens. You get into too many fights here. Gotta be careful, but look at that. They buy themselves a little bit of time. Alex or Reckless likely steal the loot from down there. That'll be really good for them. Remember, they are dead last right now. They literally need something. They need a top 5.
It is time. It's time for them to show up right now. We haven't seen much from them throughout the day. They've not really shown us what they can do and what they have been doing on their home region. Peterbot and Poyo. We've seen them, of course, doing exactly what they do best in this game. Looking for height here again early on. Identified the fact that they can hold on to it. And Peterbot with the Mammoth in hand, looking to do so much damage, missing a couple of shots in quick succession, but hitting another one, actually dropping himself down right there, but they don't mind right now. They're sort of banking on that zone, pulling back towards that southwest, so if that does happen, expect them up on height again. And remember, this is a team that just have been playing these endgame zones so effectively well. Looks like Shxrk and T3eny, though, they're not allowing them to have this higher positioning. Shxrk and T3eny want it for themselves. Two of our Titan teams going head-to-head right now. They're going to have to settle for that lower ground positioning. Peterbot down, getting sprayed from all angles. Poyo looking as though he's weak as well, and they both go down. Peterbot and Poyo eliminated. Shxrk and T3eny are the team that take them out as well.
This has to be motivating, frustrating, and everything in between the range of emotions of those two words I just mentioned for Peterbot and Poyo as they start looking towards the grand finals. I think they know who they need to try to find a solution for, because Shxrk and T3eny are running away with this group stage.
They are, and remember, it's the mental game as well. That's the game that they were winning when they were dominating NA Central. It's the game that they keep on winning. And right now, they lost that mental battle. Epic well with the rebooted loot, the reloaded loot that you get from when you respawn on in. As we get to take a look at how that fight went down, Peterbot Poyo versus Shxrk and T3eny star-studded fight. Again, Shxrk having that piece control, having that ability to take them out, and another one. That's what Shxrk does. That's what he's built for. That's what he's made for.
For Lua, for Romero, this is their moment to break so far ahead that they can secure their way to the finals. Can they do something big here? Meanwhile, Malibuca Vico, of course, still keeping pace. The last time we tuned in with Vico, he had this low amount of HP and it hasn't changed much since. Pumped though, the tournament is on your back, my friend. How far can you push it now? You are on and knocking on death's door, and down he goes inside a 10. It was further than any other game though, so at least he gave us a little bit of life here. Malibuca Vico though, still in the game right now, in the ultimate low ground here. Just trying to find their footing.
Yeah, they're looking for a refresh right now. They need that siphon, which they get. Malibuca, that's going to be huge to keep their hopes of staying in this game alive. But as I say that, Malibuca down. Shxrk and T3eny still flying high up in the sky. They are looking on down to the rest of the lobby. They want to close out yet another victory royale. These guys are running the show right now. They've taken out their direct competition. They don't want just first place. They want first place by an absolute mile. Liwa, Romero, they need to take advantage of Pablo and Chino going down earlier in the game. This is a huge game for them, but crucially, Monster, they're here as a duo.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, at this point, they're going to be able to spring and jump their way up the standings here. Just continue to kind of have that cushion again between them and the rest of the pack. Shxrk, T3eny at 14 eliminations and counting. They got the high ground. And just with a staggering amount of dominance here, there is not another duo in sight that can stop them at this point. Muzz's fix here, take down Vico and Malibuca. That's going to be it from them inside the top 5. Sphinx and Muzz continue to rock their way up. Lua goes down. It's up to Romero to do a little bit more, but Sphinx is firing up here.
You know what? Z-Dog, Goofy as well still in this game. They're healing inside of the Storm. Romero, Lua, they are out. Sphinx looking to try and make this game count, of course, as well. T3eny up on height. Goofy and Z-Dog trying to go for height. T3eny says, no, 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 this is our domain. We're not letting you up here. Z-Dog now has to do it all alone. This is a huge game for Z-Dog right now. They're trying to break their way into that top 7, remember, as well. So much of their direct competition are hip to hip with them. So Muzz has to try and go for height himself, looking to try and take the game for their own. Muzz and Sphinx, a healthy duo, but Sphinx goes down to the hands of T3eny. They are an unstoppable force right now.
Hey, Muzz can still do this. They almost have the chop right there. Shxrk and T3eny are out of shields here. They're just healing. If there's one player that could have did something big, it would have been Muzz, but in the end, Shxrk and T3eny, I mean, at this point, have just really showed us what they are all about. The 3-peat back to back to back. You know, I thought Peter Botafoyo just had the map on lock, and then you just got these boys playing so well.
It's just unbelievable. Every single time you just think, yeah, surely now, right? They're going to have to settle for a second or a third, but they don't. They do not settle for those positions. They want those wins. They want to show the lobby, and I think even taking down Peter Botafoyo in that game, they're a team that want to win that mental game. They're a team that want to show that they are better than Peter Botafoyo, because yeah, they've already qualified through. They're chilling. It's not about qualifying anymore. It's about showing. It's about proving. It's about dominating, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, the crazy part about all that as well is the more experience